The Philadelphia 76ers did what they set out to do on Wednesday night, and that was to win the Tankathon battle against the Toronto Raptors. And to win the Tankathon battle, you actually have to lose the game on the basketball court, and the Philadelphia 76ers did just that in convincing fashion. In a huge game that will have big implications down the line on whether or not the Philadelphia 76ers are able to keep their first round draft pick, they were able to fall to the Toronto Raptors in convincing fashion. The Raptors got out to a big lead. The Sixers kind of stormed back 22-8 run to end the third quarter, but the Raptors finished with the win. And the Philadelphia 76ers did exactly what they set out to do, lose that basketball game. It was a total tank job by both sides. You look at both injury reports. Before the game, 7, 8 players on each roster injured. The Sixers, hopefully he's okay, Lonnie Walker. You never root for injuries, but Lonnie Walker's been playing pretty well. He leaves the game early with an injury after 1 minute, and the Sixers are down another man. And that led to another not surprising, but strong Quentin Grimes performance. He's probably is enjoying playing basketball right now more than he ever has. I know the losses are piling up, but in his professional career at least, he's been given a chance to kind of be the man on this Sixers team with all the guys down, whether it's Paul George, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, down and out with injuries. Quentin Grimes been given the ball and said go to work, and he's made himself, I think, a lot of money over these past couple of weeks. We'll talk about that for sure. But the 76ers fall to the Raptors, and they are now tied in fifth place for the worst record in the NBA. So the Philadelphia 76ers increase their chances. This is a game they were tied neck and neck kind of there with the Raptors, and now they are tied with the Brooklyn Nets and increase those chances of getting in that top 6. Just to remind you, the Philadelphia 76ers need to pick between 1 and 6, so their lottery ball has to fall between 1 and 6 to keep their first round pick this year. If the pick is 7 or later, that pick will go to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And at this rate, where we know the Sixers will not be going to the playoffs most likely, unless they find a way to go on a crazy winning streak, they will not even be going to the play-in game. The goal is to be able to do everything you can to obtain that first round pick. And even if you can't get Cooper Flagg or Dylan Harper or Ace Bailey, it is a very good draft class, and you don't want to be missing out on these top 6 prospects. So to take a quick look at tonight's game for the Philadelphia 76ers. As I said earlier, another impressive Quentin Grimes performance, 29 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. As I said, he's just been kind of given the ball and said kind of go to work. Not encouraging performance from Justin Edwards, a minus 26 tonight. He hasn't been playing that great in recent weeks. I was hoping to see more after he's been converted to that full-time NBA standard deal, and he hasn't really performed that much in recent weeks. But Adem Bona has continued to look really well, looking like a promising kind of backup center of the future, and who knows what his ceiling is with Joel Embiid's health. But his play over recent weeks has been pretty impressive as well. Yabusele ruled out tonight. Tyrese Maxey doesn't play. Kyle Lowry doesn't play. Obviously, Eric Gordon. So it was a lot of guys, the young guys getting some run tonight. Jared Butler getting 30-plus minutes as well tonight, some of his most extended action during his time for the 76ers. But the Sixers over these next few weeks, as I've kind of harped on, it's basically tryout season for the next year. Justin Edwards, do you have a spot in the rotation? Quentin Grimes, are you going to be like the fourth option on this team on the offensive end? His game has been so impressive as a whole when it comes to kind of rounding it out and not just being a shooter and defender, distributing the ball, rebounding the ball. He's really shown a complete game, a complete effort, and I think the Sixers are going to have a good kind of three-headed monster there in the backcourt going forward with Quentin Grimes, with Jared McCain, and with Tyrese Maxey. And the Sixers front office and coaching staff has to be encouraged by his performance in these recent weeks. And you get this great performance after acquiring him at the trade deadline for Caleb Martin, a second-round pick. And you also are losing in the meantime. You're getting good play, good developmental reps from this youngish player, and you're able to still lose these games and hopefully complete the goal of obtaining that top 6 pick. It's all wins across the board, I think, right now if you're a Sixers fan. And it's been such a disappointing season. It would be even more disappointing if they don't. So games like these, they have to find ways to continue to lose. And when you look at the Sixers schedule coming up, when you look at the standings with the Philadelphia 76ers right now, after the loss tonight, they fall to 22-43. The Raptors jumped them in the standings, go up to 23-43. We are now tied with the Brooklyn Nets. We are not going to finish below the Charlotte Hornets. We're not going to finish below the Washington Wizards. But it could come down to a simple tiebreaker or something like that, where the Raptors win one more game than the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Sixers finish below them by a spot, and that 1% or whatever the percentile would be, that could make a big impact on whether or not the Sixers are able to keep their draft picks. So the Sixers have officially, I think, played themselves out of the play-in contention. We can stop talking about that. They've lost 2 in a row now. They're 2-8 over their last 10 games. And when you kind of look at their schedule going forward, there is a legitimate shot that this team, I'm not going to say can lose every game the rest of the season. You look at the rest of the game, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 games left. I think the Sixers, anything above 3-14 over that stretch, and that's saying winning through 3 games, more than 3 games, would be a disappointment, would be deemed a failure in my eyes. You have to lose the games to the good teams, and you most likely will. But teams like the Pacers, teams like the Mavericks, teams like the Rockets, the Thunder, who are all in the mix for the playoffs, for the playoffs, excuse me. The Hawks still in the mix there. Then you get kind of bottom feeders like New Orleans and Washington on your schedule. San Antonio, obviously, on a bit of a downside as well. Miami fighting for a playoff spot. You get another matchup with the Raptors. It's going to be pivotal to find a way to lose that game. But you still got the Knicks, the Bucks, the Timberwolves, the Heat again. Another matchup with the Wizards there. The Bulls, who are going to be in the play-in, and the Hawks most likely in the play-in as well. But the Sixers have golden opportunities ahead to continue to lose games. And it's funny to say that, ironic to say that. But I think it's the best of both worlds. Being able to try out these young guys and kind of have auditions for the next year going forward, have the opportunity to showcase why they should be in the rotation, why that they should be counted on as key pieces for this franchise going forward, when they're able to be fully healthy at full steam. And the Sixers have plenty of opportunities to do that, 17 games to go, and the opportunity to continue losing and increasing your odds of getting kind of that top pick, potentially whether it's a Cooper Flag, whether it's a Dylan Harper, whether it's an Ace Bailey. There's plenty of prospects here in the top 6 that the Sixers will probably be licking their chops at if they have the opportunity to get these guys. When you look at kind of the guys that have been playing recently and the players in the rotation, Lonnie Walker, a guy that only played, as we said earlier, a minute tonight before coming out of the game with an injury. But players like Justin Edwards, players like Jared Butler, Quentin Grimes, Adeem Bona, those are all guys that are kind of showcasing and having the ability to try out essentially for a roster spot for these next few weeks, for next season, and what their role going into next year could be. I think Quentin Grimes has already certainly made himself a lot of money. Even if I'm the Sixers, I don't know how the NBA would respond to it, but if I'm the Sixers, I'm even potentially looking at shutting Quentin Grimes down when it gets to a point, because he's playing that well and he could even sneak the Sixers a couple extra W's that they don't need. But over these next few weeks, that is the main goal, and the Sixers are able to achieve that tonight. Anything that they can do to find a way to lose a game, and that's a bad mindset to have, but the state of the franchise right now, they need that pick. This season will go down as, you can maybe even argue, worse than one of any of the process years besides the year where they only won 10 games. I think they went 10-72 the one year off the top of my head. But when the Sixers were at the bottom there in the basement of the Eastern Conference, this season kind of rivals that with the expectations that they had and the shortcomings that they've had, and it's mainly been due to injury. If you're going to go through this painful of a season and this rough of a season, you have to be able to at least acquire this top 6 pick and hope that this top 6 pick turns into a stud player down the road, or at least give yourself a shot at it. Whether you take the draft pick or not, you could potentially even flip that for another player or something like that if you still want to continue to go all in. But this gives you options at least. And the Sixers, by losing tonight, they win the Tankathon. As I said at the beginning, they lose the basketball game on the court, but off the court, it matters more in terms of these lottery balls. And at the end of the day, it could still come down to luck, but you're still giving yourself the best percentage chance at the end of the day of acquiring that first-round draft pick. So that'll do it for this episode here on Sixers Digest. The Sixers lose the Tankathon matchup. Let us know below. Are you a fan of this tanking procedure? Do you want to see Quentin Grimes play anymore this year because he gives you a little bit more of a chance to win? And if the Sixers do fall in that top 6, who do you want outside of Cooper Flag, outside of Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey? Who are some of the other names you guys are keeping an eye out for? Let us know in the comments below. Drop a like, drop a subscribe, and we'll be talking to you next time here on Sixers Digest.